The reason you're struggling to win games right now in college football 26, you don't know about all the possible secrets that can actually help you win games. But don't worry, because in this video, I'm breaking down 5 secret college football 26 tips that if you actually implement them, you're going to see your win rate increase by over 94%. I just helped this player do it, and so long as you implement these things, you're going to be doing the same thing. Let's jump right into it. Alright, the first thing I want to show you are 2 secret settings that you need to make sure you've turned on. Let me show you. Alright, so that first setting is an offensive one, right? So you're going to come to your coaching adjustments by pressing the right stick or R3 on PlayStation. You're going to come down to auto base protection, right? You want to make sure that you do not have this off. You want to make sure you have this on base or empty. I like base protection the most. I think it's the most useful. Empty does have a use case against, all-out blitzes, but base is normally what you need to be in. All right, so I'm going to show you a great example of what happens when you don't use base protection. You actually have, it off. What's going to happen is there's going to be times where you call certain plays and you're not really going to know when this is going to happen unless you check your play art. But you're going to notice when you play with off, or the setting on off, you're going to see that EA is randomly going to give you pass protection like this, where they're going to half slide your offensive line, maybe even full slide sometimes, in one direction, right? And this is a great example of it. I put them in random defense, right? I actually put them in random defense right here. We have the entire offensive line half sliding to the left, right? What if they blitz you with the slot corner off the right? They also send their right linebacker right here. What do you think is going to happen? I think we're immediately going to get sacked. And that's exactly what's going to happen. That slot corner is going to come completely flying in, and because, again, the whole line's going the other way, and so, again, it's just going to be an instant sack, and that's going to be a huge problem for you, something that you're probably not going to be able to counter unless you turn this setting onto base, all right? So you see exactly what happens where the whole left side of the line shifting this way. Right? And so again, this is a blitz where they're sending 1, 2, 3. They are sending +1, but even if you block your running back here, it's going to be a problem. This is going to be a problem for you because the whole line shifting in the wrong direction. They're blitzing off the other side. We need to account for those guys on the other side, and if we need to let one guy come in free, let this man come in free. So you see what I mean, where it's like when against certain blitz packages, you're gonna be in huge trouble because you're not in full control of what your offensive line is doing. But when you actually have base protection turned on, you're basically gonna get a fresh start. So against a blitz like this, for example, right, you're gonna see how we're just gonna take the snap and everyone's gonna get blocked. Now, of course, sheds are a thing, and so you're gonna have to get rid of the ball on time, but everyone's gonna get blocked actually when you use base protection. Now, against, maybe if they want, against a blitz like this, I would probably still want to block my running back, and then I want to be the one to half slide my line. I want to half slide my line. I don't want EA to randomly do it on certain plays against certain protections, because I half slide one way, I'm able to throw the ball back across my body and pick up a big gain. So you want to be in full control of your pass protection, and the only real way to do that is to have it on base to start, and then you can make the pass protection adjustments when you need to. So that's the first setting, auto base protection on base. But I told you guys there were 2 settings, right? So we're going to come into cornerback matchups. We're going to make sure that this is not on anything besides balance. You put it on by overall, you put it on by speed, you put it on by height, you're by route running, whatever, you can't put it on anything besides balance, because essentially what's going to happen is if you have it on by speed, for example, when the offense no huddles, right, your defenders are going to be getting back to the line of scrimmage. They're going to start lining up by speed or whatever you have it set to. But when you're in zone coverage, it'll just crisscross your zones. No one's really worried about matching up with these guys other than just lining up in front of them. Because you're telling the game, hey, just line up right in front of the receivers and don't worry about anything else. But this is a problem because if they just put 2 streaks in the field, you're going to see how they're going to have a wide open pass down the field for an easy touchdown because, again, your whole defense is misaligned. And, again, this is going to happen whether you put them by route running, by height, by speed, by depth chart, anything besides balance. This is going to happen because, again, you're telling the game to have your cornerbacks and your DBs match up with the receivers. By whatever you have it set to, but it doesn't reflect in your zones. They don't switch zone assignments. So you really need to make sure that you have this on balance, because when you have it on balance, your guys will actually just line up with the receivers just like this, and you're going to be playing perfect defense because your guys are lined up right over the top of the receivers. And again, that's just another secret setting. No one's going to tell you how it works and what it really does, but I will. So make sure you have it on balance. All right, so the next secret tip that's going to help you win more games is simply using the right offensive playbook and one that fits your play style. Let me show you a really great one that I like right now, the Oregon State offense. All right, you're going to say, BLT, what do you like so much about Oregon State? They have some of the best passing formations in the game, all right? So if we come into a play like flood from Y off trio close, you can see how great of a route concept this is by itself. All you have to do, put B on a shriek, and I'll probably stem my corner out down to the max right here, right? And this is a fantastic play because essentially, let me move this controller, but this is a fantastic play because it's a great flood concept stock. Right, you're able to get a tight end zig route that does a great job against every defense that you can immediately hit, and that's gonna force them to come down. You call this play a couple times early in the game. Eventually, they're gonna start calling zone coverage. Right, they're gonna call cover 2, for example, and they're gonna start shading their whole coverage down because they want to be able to take away this zig. Right, and what does that open up for you? That opens up that corner out right there on the sideline, make that guy miss. Try to make him miss. Maybe I should just speed boost it the other way, but when you're able to check the ball down, especially early in the game, you're going to open up other windows. So a play like Flood does a great job of this because you see how when they shade their whole coverage down, the flat zones come down too to stop this zig route. You're able to throw this if you want to high ball it over the top of their zones, or you can just throw your corner out on the sideline for a big gain, just like I'm able to do right here. And then when you have this much space, when you're able to hit spin moves, juke moves, make guys miss after the catch, I mean, it's super, super dangerous. But another thing that I like about this Oregon State offense is what you're able to do inside the 5-yard line, right? So when you talk about something, like the red zone, right, it's tough to score. And so if you just call RPO read Y flat, you're going to honestly be able to do a good job of, moving the ball closer to the end zone. The most important thing when you get down inside the red zone is not calling negative plays. So you never want to go backwards. You're always trying to go forward, obviously, right? And it's a little bit easier said than done, but this is a great play because you're very rarely going to lose yards. It's going to be pretty tough for them actually to be able to defend this play. We're just going to have them in a couple of different defenses. And you're just going to see how, again, this time they're in man coverage, and so then we're just going to be able to extend that ball over the top. So, again, the best part about this play is it's so easy to set up. Again, no hot route. If you want to put B on a drag, you could do that, right? And then, I actually didn't even mean to hand that ball off. But that's the thing. You got to be quick with this play. I'm just going to be honest. You can't, make your decisions take a long time to make your decisions, right? If you want to throw that behind that guy, perfect. You have 3, really you have 4. You could hand the ball off, you can keep it with your quarterback, you could throw the drag to B, or you could throw the flat to Y. I, a lot of the time, want to throw this flat out here because it's very easy, and a lot of the time you're able to just fall forward for easy touchdowns. But bottom line with this play, you have a lot of great reads, and it's really just about moving the ball forward, not calling negative plays, not calling runs behind the line of scrimmage, throwing the ball out to the flat quickly, and just being able to put your head down and try to get in the end zone. But Oregon State has great pass plays, but it also gives you a great ability to punch the ball in the red zone. All right, what if I told you there was a secret coverage that's going to be able to take away all types of floods, right? Crossers, posts, corners, anything that you can think of on the sideline, this coverage excels in it. Let me show you. All right, so that coverage that I'm talking about here is going to be cover 6, all right? I like cover 6. Anything where you have match is going to be, pretty good at doing this. But I do like cover 6. The thing you need to make sure you're doing is turning all 3 zone drop depths onto default, all right? And then you make sure you call your cover 6 defense. Now, obviously, right, we're going to call this flood concept here. A flood concept is a great example of, a type of play that this defense would excel in. I would never recommend you do this, but for the case of showing you, I'm going to just use the defensive line, and we're going to watch how this coverage plays against this play. Just watch how that corner out is absolutely strapped up. And the reason why that pass was a red pass is because he was covered completely. There was nowhere for the quarterback to even fit that pass in for him to be able to catch it. So you're able to see corner out, sideline taken away very easily. You're able to see out route taken away by the quarter flat easily. And then you're also even able to see the hook curl right here is able to take away this drag route and follow him across the field. A lot of the time that would be your user, but you also see how this man isn't doing anything because he doesn't have to. That's how great this coverage is. You're able to stop a play that's notoriously hard to stop by simply just calling match coverage. And honestly, you could really just put your controller down like I did, right? Because this is such a common play. When you know people only want to attack the sideline like this, cover 6, cover 4 quarters, palms, cover 9, whatever you want to call is going to be fantastic against this, all right? So again, we're going to set it up the same way. Take the snap. You can see even if they want to throw that out route, we're right there to stop it, right? So cover 6, it's going to do a great job. But sometimes you're not going to know what play they're going to call, right? You don't necessarily know. I mean, you could expect them to call a corner route, but they call something different. And that's why match coverage is still valuable, because it's going to adapt to the different plays that they have called, right? Or the route concepts. So we're going to take this snap, and I'm just really reading it. Right, I'm coming down here, I'm here, and you see how that's perfect defense, because when you combine a coverage like this with switch stick, you have great coverage. Let's take a look at the instant replay here. You're able to see we're going to take away their table route by our quarter flat. We're going to take away their drag with this hook curl again, and then we're going to take away their drag here with my user because I switch stick, and then I'm going to switch stick off of it and then come back over the middle field to take away their spot route and probably jump in front of it for an interception. So again, that further demonstrates that if they want to call corners, crossers, any type of flood, we're going to be able to take it away. But honestly, if you guys watch me play earlier this year and still now, it's like I sit in match coverage for a large portion of the game because I want to be able to just switch stick them all over the field and take away a lot of their routes down the field, which is something this coverage greatly excels in. Alright, so those first 3 secrets that I showed you don't even compare to the final 2 secrets that I'm about to show you. So make sure you subscribe to this channel because I break down tips like this every single day on College Football 26, and you're not going to miss out on any of them. Let's jump right back into it. Alright, so the next secret that I want to show you is a glitch route that's going to allow you to score one-play touchdowns over the top. Let me show you. Alright, so that route that I'm talking about actually here is going to be the slot fade. Now, this is best when they're in press man-to-man coverage like you're going to see right here. Now, you certainly need to have good receivers, right? When you have slow receivers, that's going to make any play, any offense worse. But we're just going to take a chance here with Clemens, alright? So you're going to put him on whatever receiver on a slot fade. Now, obviously, he has to be a slot receiver, which Clement is in this case. So I'm going to put him on a slot fade, and then I'm going to smart route him. You have to smart route him for this to work, all right? So you're going to smart route the slot fade, and then you're going to custom stem the slot fade up one time. So you see how this is now going to be a super slot fade, right? So obviously, we're going to have base protection. We're going to block our running back. And we're going to watch how he's going to run this route, and he's going to bend it off over the top. Now, I had to pick up my controller, so I wasn't able to throw the ball. But you're able to see how we're going to take a look at this replay, where he's going to get outside leverage off of this press. And then as he runs over the top, you see how when he bends it off, he's almost like pushing off of this DB. And so he's able to get that separation over the top towards the sideline. Now, another thing I would tell you is, you see how I'm at like the 35-yard line here, the 36? You need a lot of room on the field to be able to get this to work. If you call this inside the 30, the plus 30, right, this isn't going to work. You don't have enough room to run over the top for a touchdown, right? But when you are far enough back, you're going to see how you're going to be able to play really great defense, all right? So we're going to have them in press man coverage again right here. And you're going to see the same thing, base protection, block your running back, take the snap, and you're just going to watch him run over the top, and you just got to lob it. Now, shout out to my quarterback for overthrowing that pass. Maybe I'll take that safety off the field. But the great thing is this works against cover 1 because this safety is rotating to the middle of the field, right? And so then you're just going to be able to get behind this. You see this crazy separation? A Shriek would never be able to do this, right? You get off the press, and then you just bend the route off with the slot fade, get towards the sideline, and you're able to get behind him. So we're going to take the safety off the field just so that my quarterback doesn't overthrow the pass. And I would also recommend that you call a good route concept behind this play just in case your slot fade doesn't get open, because obviously we know nothing's guaranteed. But we're going to take this snap right here, and you're just, that time, that's just a super win. And my quarterback still sails the ball. But you see how he's able to get behind that DB. He super wins off the line, which super wins don't always happen. But he's able to get off this press really well, just destroy this guy. And then when he bends the route off, he's still way behind the DB. And again, you just need your quarterback to actually throw that ball far enough and make it accurate. I'm not sure why, our quarterback here in this case is having a hard time doing that. But bottom line, you practice this with your receiver. I don't know, maybe you're playing cut, maybe you're playing dynasty, right? You have a guy who can get behind DBs and who is really big, really fast. Try a slot fade route with him, custom stem him up the field, and watch him just get way behind their man coverage for easy lob touchdowns. I Guarantee it'll help you out. All right, before we jump into that last tip, go down below, comment the word free. I'll send you a free guide to dominate college football 26 that I've updated just recently. Let's jump right back into it. All right, so that last secret tip that I want to show you is actually coverage shells. It's a way to basically hide your coverage so that your opponent never knows really what defense you're in. Let me show you some great use cases. All right, so a lot of different defenses have access to these shells. Like you see, for example, Load Mug doesn't. But like for the most part, you see how every single other nickel defense is going to have access to coverage shells. So again, essentially this is a way to hide your coverage. So I'm going to call a cover 3 defense, and we're going to have the cover 2 shell turned on. So you see cover 3 sky, cover 2 shell. So you're able to see how this just looks like too high. These guys are lined up at the same depth. And again, this just looks like they're going to be in cover 3. Why is this useful? Because so many people like to rely on their ability to read a defense, right? For example, if they wanted to call like a cover 2 bomb, right? Where maybe they have a post route in the middle of the field, and then they're going to call, I don't know, maybe something like this, where they're trying to bomb cover 2 over the top. Well, now because you're in cover 3, that's not going to be open, because you're going to see we're just going to take this snap, and they're just going to be throwing a pass right into an inside third defender who's just going to knock it away. So that's when it becomes really valuable, is against those people who want to rely on being able to read the defense at the snap, right, to base what play they call on that. That's why when I'm on offense and I teach you guys to call plays that can beat every defense, call route concepts that can attack both cover 2 and cover 3 at the same time. But bottom line here with this, it's like you're able to basically hide your coverage and completely confuse people, all right? So I do like disguising your cover 3 as a cover 2. That's great, but really when this is the most valuable, and I really only like to use this on maybe a 4th down situation, you're going to come right back into those shells, and you're going to disguise your defense as a cover 0 shell now. Right, and so you're going to disguise your zone coverage as a cover 0. So I'm going to come into cover 2, and I'm going to disguise it as a cover 0. We look at this look on offense. This does look like cover 0. Their safeties are super close to the line of scrimmage, right? Their DBs are lined up right over the top of our receivers. Like, this is giving the man coverage tell, right? And so when we think about beating man coverage, it's completely different, right? A route concept that can beat man doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be great against zone, all right? I'll show you an example of this. Right, like this play right here would honestly be really good against man. You give yourself 4 man-beating routes. But against zone, I mean, drags can always get open against every defense if you throw them immediately. But when we take this snap, like, this isn't a good route concept. If they just bring their flat zones down or they switch stick, no one's open. Because the crosser right here, there's no runoff route. There's no route to clear out these deep zones. So you see how this deep zone is looking right at this route to take it away. There's a flat dropping back to stop this. So they can't throw their crosser. What about their corner route? Well, their corner route's going to get guarded by the deep half because, again, there's no runoff route, right? And the reason why that's the case is because they didn't call a play that can actually beat zone coverage. So that's why disguising your cover 2 as a cover 0, especially on like a 4th down, right, where we're going to actually showcase that situation. It's 4th and 3. You call cover 2 hard flat. This looks like man coverage. So they're thinking, okay, let me just call a man beating route. But now you're going to have hard flats in the field to take away all of their underneath passes. But then that deep half right there is going to do a great job of just sitting on that crosser and taking it away. And then same thing on the other side with their corner out. So bottom line with coverage shells, you're going to be able to do a great job of disguising your defense, whether you want to disguise cover 3 as cover 2 or you want to disguise zone coverage as cover 0. You're going to completely throw off the timing of the offense and make it nearly impossible for them to actually call good plays because they don't even know what defense you're really in. All right, so if you enjoyed any of those 5 tips I broke down in this video, again, I encourage you to go down below and subscribe to this channel. We break down CFB 26 tips and secrets that you're not going to miss out on every single day. But if you're still struggling heavily on defense, which I know a lot of you guys are in college football 26, check out this video where I break down 5 tips to drastically improve your defense overnight. I'll see you over there.